Welcome back. You are still watching Market View now for our Enterprise Watch segment. The COMESA Competition Commission has released a guidance letter to airlines operating in the region. The guidelines are critical in ensuring that airlines operating within the common market conduct their business practices in a manner that is fair, transparent and compliant with competition laws, of course. To better understand these guidelines and why they need to be followed, we are now joined by Kondwani Kawonga, Manager of Economic Research, Policy and Advocacy at the COMESA Competition Commission, coming through virtually from Malawi. A very good afternoon to you, ma'am, and thank you so much for your time. Perhaps you could just give us context here on what exactly or some of the concerns that prompted the Commission to develop these new guidelines.
Thank you very much, and greetings from Malawi, the warm heart of Africa. It's a pleasure to be on the program. So just to provide some context in terms of why we had to develop this guidance. The COMESA Competition Commission as a regional competition and consumer protection agency has been operational for quite some time, since 2013. And over time, we've been receiving quite a lot of complaints from passengers, consumers in this market. The complaints have ranged from lost luggage without any form of compensation, cancelled flights without any kind of reasonable explanation to the affected consumers, and sometimes it's just been delays. Delays have happened where passengers go to the airport and they're told the flight has been delayed, and the delays may be even for more than 6 hours. This is usually information that could have been communicated to the passengers before they get to the airport. And some flights have been cancelled, and passengers are only knowing about the cancelled flights when they get to the airport. This is information that could have actually been communicated. And looking at so many complaints that have been received regarding to flight reschedules, cancelled flights, lost luggage, sometimes even damaged luggage, in some cases where bags are even opened and items are stolen from the bags. Looking at so many complaints that we've been receiving over time, we actually thought that the problem was actually widespread. There were actually many complaints that were not even received. Some consumers didn't even know that they could actually raise these issues with the COMESA Competition Commission. And looking at the fact that there were so many complaints that were received, we thought we could do a survey in the market just to be able to establish how many other passengers are affected within the common market. You may understand that COMESA comprises of 21 member states, from the northern part of Africa to the southern part of Africa and the eastern part of Africa as well. So what we had done then is to undertake a survey where we targeted our consumers within the broader common market, the COMESA region, to just understand what issues they were facing when they were traveling with the airlines, and also to understand whether they were being addressed, were they being given redress when they're inconvenienced or when they're not able to travel, when they lose luggage, when the luggage is delayed, were they being assisted by the airlines? And through this survey, we're able to establish that actually the complaints were so widespread, so many complaints that did not even make it to our to us, and it was actually very clear that this problem was widespread and there was need for us to be able to address it more broadly. There were specific complaints that we've handled previously, just individual complaints that of course affect many passengers. We handled those kind of complaints previously, but because of the extent of the spread of the problem, we needed to address it more broadly. So we do understand, maybe just to be clear, that these issues are inevitable in the airline market. We do not expect that the market will work perfectly with no challenges. We do understand these issues will happen. Flights will be cancelled for many reasons. There might be delays for many reasons, or luggage may be delayed for many reasons. And I think most of us have had such challenges. But the issue we had was, how are the consumers assisted thereafter when such challenges arise? Because when a flight is cancelled and consumers remain stranded at the airport, that is not a good thing, because money would have been paid, a contract would have been entered between a passenger or a consumer with the airline to say, you are going to move me either from Eswatini to Johannesburg. That's a contract that we have entered into and have paid for that service. But so if you're not able to move me from Eswatini to Johannesburg, then you have to be able to give me reasons why you're not able to do that. will offer me options at what else can be done to assist me. But that was not even happening. And this was actually seen from the survey that we had done. We realized that so many complaints, but there was no redress basically given to these consumers to be able to address to assist them.
Can you perhaps walk us through some of the key elements of the guidance letter? Are there any new expectations or standards that now the airlines are expected to uphold? What exactly does this letter entail?
So, and that's a great question, because what does a guidance letter do? What is a guidance letter from our perspective? From our perspective, a guidance letter is there to sort of just provide a guide. It's more like a guideline kind of being given to the airlines to say, in different circumstances, this is how you should be able to treat passengers. And as a guide, airlines are advised to sort of follow the guide. And of course, the question would be, what happens if they don't follow the guide? Currently, because this is just a guidance letter, if the guidance is not followed, then our law, our COMESA competition, the COMESA competition regulations would then have to apply. If, let's say, for example, a consumer's flight has been cancelled, no form of redress has been provided by the airline, and the airline does not follow the guidance that we've provided in the letter, then for us, our fallback would be to go to the law, that is the COMESA competition regulations, because it has very clear provisions on consumer protection and such as unconscionable conduct, that to see whether this airline is engaging in some form of unconscionable conduct. So the fallback for us would be to go to the law and implement the law. So the guidance letter is a soft enforcement tool. And as a soft enforcement tool, it assists the airlines to sort of assist them in their day-to-day operations, so that they see to it that they're able to address many of these consumer issues between themselves and the consumer. Because the moment our law comes into force, where we say that a complaint has been received and they've not been able to address the complaint, and we apply our law, the consequences then can be sort of costly for them. Because us applying the law means that when we find that they've breached our law, we can fine them up to 10% of their turnover that is generated from the common market. So that can be a lot of money as well, it might be much easier for them to guide the passengers, to assist the passengers that may be affected, as opposed to them being fined 10% of the turnover that they generated from the common market.
Right. My final one to you would be exactly, we understand that airlines operate under diverse regulatory environments. And given this new guidance letter, how does the Commission plan to monitor and evaluate the implementation of these guidelines across the different member states, and also just the collaboration with the domestic regulators or competition commissions, rather?
Yeah, thank you. So, one thing about the COMESA Competition Commission as a regional enforcement agency is that it has to work very closely with the national competent authorities. So in the case of Eswatini, you're talking about Eswatini Competition Commission, and we actually have working relationships with all the different competent authorities in all the 21 member states. And so even when it comes to when we're doing our research, when we're doing our investigations, when we're doing advocacy work, we collaborate with our competent authorities to ensure that our whatever we're doing, we are coordinated. So in this particular where we've issued a guidance, how do we then monitor? One of the ways is that very soon we'll be sharing this guidance with all the competent authorities in our different member states, and we'll also be intent to share the guidance with the civil aviation authorities, so that it's there, so they know that this is something that the COMESA Competition Commission is aware of, and this is how it hopes that consumers could be assisted when they're in all these different situations. And also just to state that the guidance is very clear in terms of what should the airline do when the flight has been delayed, what steps should they take. What should they take when there's if a flight has been cancelled, luggage has been delayed, or it's been lost, or instances where there's been an overbooking? You've had, I'm sure there have been many consumers where they go to the airport, they've got a valid flight, they go to the airport and they're told this flight is overbooked, so you can't board. You're basically bumped off the flight. So there have been such cases. So the guidance letter has provided clear guidance on what the airline should do to be able to assist the passengers, because in the past, these consumers have not been assisted in any way. They've been left frustrated with the system. They've been left frustrated with the airlines, different kind of airlines. So the issue is, can you assist them in this way? And we want to share that information with our national consumer or protection authorities, the civil aviation authorities, so that they can then assist to monitor. But in an instance that this is not followed, we still fall back to the law to actually enforce the law. And this is a very this has been an ongoing relationship for us, as well as the national competition authorities, national consumer authorities, or any competent authority in the member states. We work very closely to ensure that these are actually we see to it that such things are actually implemented. And this is something that we know that we'll be able to work closely with them in this particular instance. In so many ways, we go beyond even just enforcement, capacity building, and so on. Those are equally areas that we are able to cooperate and see to it that our goal, our main objective of ensuring that consumers within the common market are actually protected.
Kondwani, that's all the time we had. Thank you so much for your inputs. That was Kondwani Kaonga, Manager of Economic Research, Policy and Advocacy at the COMESA Competition Commission, filling us in on a guidance letter to airlines operating in the region. This is Market View. We come back with our in-house economist, Sanele Sibia, right after this.